All right. Hello, hello, guys. Stephen Hurd with Keller Williams Realty here in beautiful Orange County, California. We are going to go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for being on the webinar. Let's go ahead and share the screen with you so you guys can see the presentation, and we will get started. So this class is called Lead Follow-Up Excellence, and it's a proven and simple strategy for converting your long-term leads. So if you guys are watching this webinar, the context of this lead follow-up is for people who are 9 to 12 months out from buying or selling a home. Okay, we're focusing on the long-term people. Most of us as agents, we find it relatively simple to follow up with people who need to buy now or sell now. Where we struggle the most is people who need to buy and sell a year, 2 years from now. And yet that's where a majority of your transactions will come from if you stay in touch with these people. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So, you know what? Got the wrong, we've got some funny real estate memes in there. Looks like I got the wrong presentation up. Just got to get the webinar version. Beautiful. Okay, sorry about that. Had another presentation up. So here's our goal today. It's to learn the beliefs and skills that will help you to be more relevant and consistent in your long-term follow-up, okay? So you want to, by the end of this class, you should have a good foundational understanding how to be more consistent, how to, follow up more often, and how to be more relevant, how to send clients information that they actually want to hear. What we're going to cover today is simple. I'm going to give you the belief system that you need to have toward lead follow-up. I'll cover 10 points. I'm going to give you a pre-qualifying script that will give you the right questions to ask clients. I'm going to give you my 33-touch program for my 9 to 12-month leads. So leads who are, again, a year or so from buying or selling. I'll give you all the scripts, the phone calls, the voicemails, the emails, all the things that are used in the follow-up plan. I will show you an example of my video market update so that you'll see what kind of video marketing we send to clients. I'll talk a little bit about the postcards we use, and then I'll talk about our Facebook ads. And what I will do, the reason I created this class was because I went to other agents' classes where they were teaching their lead follow-up system, and I didn't leave with anything practical. I didn't think with anything that I could say, oh, okay, based upon what I learned, here's what I can implement this week. So that's my personal goal today, is to give you guys some very practical, really simple ways that you can really increase your lead follow-up, okay? And some things that you can use this week to make it happen. So with that being said, if you're watching this webinar, you guys probably already know who I am. So we're going to go ahead and skip that today. Just wanted to let you know that I serve Orange County, California. So that's my marketplace. We're right here in the Mission Viejo office. Areas you might know are Newport Beach, Laguna Niguel, Irvine. Those are the most common areas. So if you know anyone who might be considering moving to the Orange County area, we would love the opportunity to interview for the position of helping them. Here is a photo of our team. So we have a 5-person team with also 2 admin. We're 5 stars on Zillow, Yelp, and Orange Coast Magazine. So we give great customer service, and we've all been in the business a very long time and working together as a team for almost 5 years now. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Let's go into the beliefs and mindset, okay? So here's the thing. 70% of your appointments are going to come from lead follow-up. Therefore, mastering it immediately will increase your income at no cost. There's a lot of things that you can do to increase your income. There's a lot of lead sources that you can purchase, things you can spend money on, client events, and those are all great and sometimes necessary. I enjoy things that make me money that are free. So if I just get a little bit better at my lead follow-up plan and I get more efficient at following up with leads, I should set more appointments, which will lead to more closings. So here's what we found. Of all the leads that we call, all the leads that we follow up with, if we set, let's say 100 appointments in 1 year, okay, if I were to set 100 appointments in 1 year, 70 of those appointments come from my lead follow-up, meaning It's not on that initial contact. It's on that 5th, 6th, 10th, 15th, sometimes 30th or 50th contact before that client finally says, you know what, I'm ready to make a move right now. So understand that a majority of your business should come from your lead follow-up. So it's important for you to be good at that aspect of the business. The second point is, while first impressions are important, the sale will most likely go to the agent with the best lead follow-up. When I first got in the business, I went up on a listing appointment against another agent who was very sharp, had a lot of closed sales. He was referred to them by a friend and was a really well-known agent in the area. And the first impression was it looked like they were probably going to list with him after I followed up. They mentioned, you know what, we think we're going to list with him. However, I stayed in touch. I followed up with them. I showed that I was persistent and willing to do what it takes to get the sale. And they eventually ended up listing with me. So first impression is important. However, if you meet them here and they're not thinking of buying for a year and you stay in touch, chances are you're going to be the one to get that sale, even if they liked another agent off the get-go. Point number 3, you need to provide real value to your leads in accordance with their timing and motivation. So value is like beauty. Okay, it's only determined in the eye of the beholder. What's valuable to me might not be valuable to you. What's valuable to you might not be valuable to someone else. So when you're talking to your leads, however you follow up, you need to give them information and tools that are relevant to them, that are specifically helpful to them. It's got to be in accordance with their timing and their motivation. So timing, if they're not, if they're thinking about buying 2 years from now, that's a different follow-up plan from someone who's thinking of buying or selling 6 months from now. It's going to be different information. Someone buying 6 months from now is going to be lots of listings, lots of information on the buying and selling process. Someone who's 2 years from now, it's going to be more generic things, just about staying in touch with them and offering helpful items or helpful advice. It also has to be relevant to their motivation. So if someone is buying a 1031 exchange, they're looking to do a 1031 tax-deferred exchange, giving them information on 3 tips to buy your first home is not a good email to send. Okay, they've already bought in a home before. They know that stuff. You need to send them information such as an email that says, here's 6 things you need to know about doing a 1031 exchange. Or here is a good 1031 exchange representative that I wanted to introduce you to. Right? It has to be relevant to their motivation. So give them real value, not just the generic emails that your company has, but you have to make tailor-fitted emails to fit their specific needs. If you're good at writing and composing email content, then you can do this yourself. If you're not, maybe you partner with somebody who is good at it and you tell them your ideas and have them formulate it in some emails. Really simple. Point number 4. The better you are at qualifying the lead, let me start over. Point number 4, the better you are at qualifying the client and their motivation, the better you will be at providing value while following up. So here's what I mean. When you know what their motivation is and you have a really clear idea about what they're looking to accomplish, you can give them information that's very relevant and specific to them. And that's the key to stand out and lead follow-up. Is when someone says, here's what I want, and you send them information, emails, text messages around giving them what they want or what they need to learn. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. Point number 5, knowing your contact to appointment set ratio will motivate you to do more lead follow-up, okay? Just like a good baseball player is very clear on their stats and how well they do, a real estate agent has to be very clear on their sales stats and how well they do, because you need to identify the gap between where you're at and where you need to be to achieve your goal. So if you know how many contacts it takes you to set an appointment, it will give you a level of awareness, which will increase your motivation and cause you to want to do more lead follow-up. So here's what I mean. Let's say that you dial 500 phone numbers a week. So you actually pick up the phone and you call 500 people. Let's say 100 of those people answer the phone, right? You make 100 contacts and you have conversations where you ask them to buy or sell real estate. Now, let's assume from those 100 conversations, you set 4 appointments, okay? 500 dials, 100 contacts, 4 appointments. Well, guess what? That means that you get 25, you get 1 appointment for every 25 conversations you have, okay? 1 appointment for every 25 conversations you have. Knowing that number right there should give you a sense of, again, awareness and control so that you can say, hey, if I just talk to 25 people a day, I can hit my appointment goal very quickly. And again, knowing that 70% of your appointments comes from lead follow-up will encourage you to get more contacts through that medium, through that source. Point number 6, determine what the best form of communication is and seek to speak in their language, okay? Find out what the best form of communication is and seek to hit them in that medium. What do they prefer? Are they big on email? Are they big on text messages? Do they prefer phone calls? You're literally going to ask your clients, what's the best form of communication for you? Now, it doesn't mean you're going to abandon all other communications. It just means that you're going to focus on their preferred method of communication for a majority of your follow-up. As an example, I am great with email. I can generally get back to people for the most part relatively quickly when it's an important email, and I manage a lot of my tasks through my email. So a lot of times I will get people who private message me on Facebook, and because I want to help them out, I'll do my best to respond. However, it takes me a really long time to get back to people when they Facebook message me. So if a salesperson was contacting me through text message or phone call or Facebook message, they might not get a big response from me. If they send me emails that are relevant to what I want to learn and what I need help with, they will almost always get a response. So find out what method of communication your client prefers and make most of the follow-up in that realm. You still want to call them, you still want to text them, but put the meat of the message in an email. A lot of times, I've been following up with leads and I found out that they bought or sold with someone else. And what I found was I looked back and I saw, wow, they always responded to my emails, but I stopped emailing them and I started calling and texting them. So with that person, I should have been emailing more often. Point number 7, determine what personality they are, okay? Are they on the DISC profile? So if you're not familiar with the DISC profile, I'm sure there's a lot of resources on YouTube you can watch, but it's relatively simple. The theory is that there's 4 common personality styles and four ways that people make decisions, frequently. So there's the D personality. This is the person that's dominant. They're results focused, direct, and competitive. There's the influencer. This is the person who shows up to the seminar in a green, bright green jacket. They're enthusiastic, they're friendly, they're optimistic, okay? There's the C. This is the compliant person, all right? They are very low on emotion, they're accurate, they're cautious, and they're very contemplative. They think inwardly versus verbalizing it and talking it out with you. And then there's the S's. That stands for steadiness. These people are sincere, patient, modest. These are the people who are really good friends, and they're very, cautious and concerned about other people's feelings, okay? So how does this tie into lead follow-up? Well, if I'm calling a client who's a D and they're very results-driven, they're very to the point, and I'm acting like an S, and I'm a little bit more sincere and patient and modest, there's going to be friction in that relationship. They're not going to want to engage in follow-up conversations with me. So if I have an S personality and I call a D, I'm going to be to the point. Hi, is Steven in? Hi, Steven. This is Steven with Keller Williams Real Estate. I'm calling about blank. Do you have a minute to chat? I'm going to be more to the point. If I'm calling an S personality and I'm a D, I'm going to be a little bit more friendly and sincere. So I might call a lead. Hi, is Joanne in? Hi, Joanne. This is Steven with Keller Williams Real Estate. How are you today? I'm going to ask more about her feelings and how things are going and just be more genuine, okay? So mirror and match them in the lead follow-up, and that will help them to feel more comfortable talking to you and be more willing to engage. Point number 8, establish a common connection, interest, or personality trait. We've all heard of the method for building rapport, right? Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. You want to ask them who's in, how many are in your family? Do you have any kids? Do you have any pets? Occupation, what do you do for work? How do you enjoy your job? Recreation, what do you folks like to do for fun? What are your hobbies? And dreams, what are you looking to accomplish in the next 5, 10, 15 years, right? The more you can have these conversations with clients and the more they're willing to open up, the stronger the rapport you will have, the more they will feel like they're bonding with you, and the more they will be willing to engage with you. Now, obviously, you ask these questions and you really leave it up to them whether or not they want to engage and respond. Most people will, right? If they shut you down, that's okay, it happens. However, most people are human, they're willing to talk. So establish that rapport with them early on and use that in the follow-up. If you guys bond over a certain hockey team or baseball team or whatever, talk about those common interests occasionally in the lead follow-up. Point number 9, people appreciate professional lead follow-up, okay? They gave you their name and phone number. They came to your open house. Guess what? They know that you're going to follow up with them, right? If not, they wouldn't have given you their phone number. So they appreciate when you follow up as long as you do it in a professional way. Here's what I mean. You're calling someone and they answer the phone and they say, hey, what's up? I will ask them, hey, listen, this is Steven with Keller Williams Real Estate. Am I catching you at a bad time? Yeah, I'm at work. Okay, hey, listen, no worries. Have a good day and I'll call you later. And I end the call, right? So I'm respectful of them. I'm professional. As long as you do that, they don't mind if you follow up. Okay, point number 10. Educational and professional lead follow-up will eliminate 95% of the objections you receive. That's right. If they have objections about commission, they have objections about being exclusive with one agent, or whatever objections they have, if you can create email content and video content explaining the advantages of working with you and demystifying some of their objections, they will, by the time they're ready to work with you, they're not going to have any objections because you've already covered them in either video or email marketing. So in your follow-up, be a little bit more educational. All right. So, give them relevant information, give them valid reasons to work with you or whatever it might be, and you will not get as many objections. So now that we've gone over the mindset that you need to have and we've covered the top 10 points, the belief system, now let's talk about pre-qualifying clients and asking them the right questions. This part right here is the most critical part in the lead follow-up system. Why? Because the more information you have about the client, the better you will be at following up with them. Okay, the more information, the more you have, the more you can tailor fit your follow-up to be specific to them. So if you're going to pay attention to one thing today, make sure it's this point. Here's the 10 question script. And some of the questions are designed to fit into the lead follow-up plan that I'm about to give you in about 10 minutes or in about 5 minutes here once we're done with this. Question number 1, in a perfect world, when would you ideally like to be moved into a home? Right? You need to know their time frame for when they're planning to make the move, because you don't know how often you should follow up unless you know when they're planning on buying or selling. Question number 2, what does the perfect home look like for you? Right? You want to ask them, what does that perfect home look like for you? And really pay careful attention to this, because they're going to paint a picture and say, here's every single thing I want. You need to listen to that very deeply, take careful notes, and you're going to use those notes later on to send them listing alerts that specifically match their criteria. I'll explain that in a little bit. Question number 3, what's your motivation for buying a home this year? One thing that I've learned is that when I talk about motivation with people, and I spend a lot of times talking about their goals and what's important to them, I get less objections because I'm triggering their motivation. I'm getting them excited about their goal. And when they're excited about their goal, they're less likely to object with the process. I just hired a personal trainer earlier this month. I met with him and he spent the first half an hour, 45 minutes just asking me, what are your goals? Why do you want to do this? What's important to you about that? And now when I'm working out with him, he reminds me, hey, this is your goal. This is the work that it's going to take. And I'm much more motivated to do it. So ask them, what's your motivation for buying a home this year? And they say, well, we need a bigger home. That's not their motivation. That's an external reward of their motivation. Their motivation is a feeling or an idea. So we'll talk about that in a second. So you ask them, what's important to you about having a bigger home? They're going to say something like, well, right now we have 3 kids, we got a dog, and we only have 3 bedrooms. So it's just really crowded in the house. It's a little bit stressful. Now is where you go one step deeper with your questioning, and this is where you find out what their motivation is. So you're going to ask them, ultimately, what will having a bigger home, less stress, more space for the kids, for the dog, ultimately, what will that do for you? Now is where you find out their specific motivation. They're going to say something like, well, it will just give me peace of mind to be able to do my work at home so that I don't get behind on my job and, and start lagging on my goals, right? So now you've really gotten their motivation. So now all the conversations are geared around, let's price your home competitively so that we can make sure we get you in that bigger home, you have less stress, you don't get behind on your goals, right? You're talking about motivation, they're less likely to object. Question number 4. What fears or concerns do you have about the process? So you want to ask them, what are they afraid of? What are they worried about? A good salesperson creates plans to eliminate people's fears. Let me say that again. A good salesperson creates plans to eliminate people's fears. For example, I've been asking clients lately, what are your fears or concerns about selling? And they say, well, we're afraid the home is going to stay on the, we're afraid the home is going to stay on the market for too long. So what I will do is in the listing presentation that my team does when they go out is they will talk about all the things we do to make sure their home sells quickly. So now that we've solved that fear, they're more likely to work with us and feel comfortable about it. Question number 5, what information or tools would be most valuable to you in this process? So I want to know what information do they need so that I can send that to them in my follow-up plan. If they say, hey, I'm a little bit confused about how VA loans work, I'm doing a VA loan, I just don't understand it, boom, I'm going to send them videos on VA loans. They're going to appreciate that I sent them something relevant to their goal and what they wanted to hear. Point number 6, how much will you be using as a down payment? So you want to ask them, hey, what do you folks plan to use as a down payment? Question 7 is, with question number 6, they're either, if they have the money, they're going to give you an amount. If they don't have the money, they're going to give you a story, right? If they have the money, they're going to say 20%. If they don't have the money, they're going to say something like, well, we were thinking about putting, 20% down or 3% down. Is that the average in the industry? Right? So they come up with, some story, right? So point number 7 is you're going to ask them, a lot of people will either use the equity in their home or cash reserves. Where do you plan to draw your down payment from? Okay, because you want to find out, where is that down payment coming from? Is it from a source that they actually have access to? There's been times where I've been working with clients where they had a down payment or a thought of where they would get the down payment from, and they weren't actually allowed to access that money, whether it was in, like a retirement account or getting it from a family member, whatever it was, they didn't actually have access to it. So most of the time, people will say, hey, I'm getting it in my savings account, whatever. This just lets you know that you're working with a qualified buyer. Question number 8, how familiar are you with the home buying process? This is where you ask them, you find out, how many times have they bought or sold a home? So that way, is the information you're giving them going to be redundant or is it going to be helpful? You've been here before where you've been talking to a salesperson and their intention is to sell you something and they just keep babbling on about irrelevant details. And you just think to yourself, God, I want to buy the product. Just shut up and sell it to me, right? Like, show me where I sign up, but they just keep talking about irrelevant details. So the way to not talk about irrelevant things to clients is to ask them, what they want to hear about, what their experience has been, and what they're most interested in learning. That way, here's what I should be covering while I'm with them. Point number 9, when is your lease up? This is a really important question because for some reason, when you ask question number 1, you say, when would you like to be moved into a new home? They'll say, well, we'd like to be moved in by July. And then in question 9, you ask them, when is your lease up? And they say, well, we were thinking of being moved in by, or our lease is up in August. So then you say, oh, okay, are you planning on breaking your lease? Well, no, we can't afford that. We don't have enough money to break the lease. Perfect. So it sounds like we should really be targeting August timeframe then. Is that correct? And they'll say, yeah, I guess I never thought about that, but that sounds about right. So, just helping them to uncover what the right timing is for them. Question number 10, do you have a home to sell before you buy? When you ask this question, you ask it with total confidence, you use a downswing, and you are seeking to find out if there's an opportunity to list their home as well. So, Janet, do you have a home to sell before you buy? Yes, Stephen, I actually do have to sell my home. Terrific. When is the best time that I could stop by, tour the home, learn more about your goals, and share with you the specific value propositions that help us get sellers more money than any other realtor out there? Do weekday afternoons or weekends typically work better for you? So just a really simple script. After you've gone into that prequal, you go for the close. Now, for this context, we're talking about leads who are 9 to 12 months out from buying. So we're talking about those long-term leads. They're not going to be ready for an appointment yet. So let's talk about, now that we've got the prequal down, we talked about the belief system, now let's jump into the consistency and the substance. Before we do that, here's a little cheat sheet. You might want to take a minute to just take a screenshot of this. These are the 4 things that if you just cover these while you're qualifying the client, you're going to be okay. So criteria, you need to know what the perfect home looks like for them. Motivation, you need to know, what has them thinking of buying or selling. Time frame, you need to know what their ideal time frame is. And ability, how much do they have as a down payment, right? You go over those 4, you're going to be set for a good follow-up plan. Okay, so let's jump into the consistency and the substance, okay? So the part that I have always, I've always felt that people who teach their lead follow-up system seem to not give you like the actual practical things that they do. So that's what this is. This is going to be a very practical outline. So this is my 33 touch plan for your long-term leads. Okay, so follow with me for one quick second. It's January through December. We're assuming you meet that client some here in January. And then each month, these are the steps that you complete for that specific month. Okay, obviously, if you meet the client in April, you're just starting this process in April for the next 12 months. Okay, really simple. The months involved, what happens during the months. If you want, go ahead and take a screenshot of this and just, I will also, if you send me an email afterward, I'll give you an opportunity to send me an email or I'll give you my email address. And if you want, I'll send you the slides and a recording of today's webinar. So step number 1 in the 33 touch plan is that initial phone call. That's what we just talked about, where you pre-qualify them. That's either a phone call or let's say you met them in an open house, right? So that's that initial conversation. Step number 2 in this plan is really important. It's called the credibility email. When people feel that you are credible, they feel that you're a credible source, they are more likely to listen to what you have to say and take it to heart, right? If I got on this webinar and I said, listen, I have contacted, 400,000 leads, I've converted, X percentage, I've done this, I've done that, and I list all my resume of everything I've done, you're more likely to pay attention to what I have to say, right? And that's a lot of it is like you guys have seen me in the role play group, you've seen some of the results I get, so you feel like, oh, I'm going to listen because I know what he's doing is working. It's the same thing with clients, okay? So what I do is right after I get off the phone, I send what's called a credibility email. Really simple. The subject line says this. Thank you for your time today. Hi, blank. Thank you so much for taking time out to speak with me today. Below is some brief information on my team, as well as a link to browse homes on our website. I look forward to being of value. I look forward to being of value to you in this process, and I'll reach out in about a week to make sure all of your questions are answered. So, you know, and then the credibility part is in the bottom where it says, who is the Z Team OC Real Estate Group? So what I do in my email, I put some information about how we have 60 years combined team experience. And then I put links to our Yelp, Zillow, and our executive agent magazine, what is it called? Article that they did on us. So Yelp, Zillow, and our article on Executive Agent Magazine. So what happens is they see those Yelp reviews, they see the Zillow reviews, and they think, okay, other people have used them, other people have been happy, I will at least pay a little bit more attention to them. So it's a very subconscious thing. And then I just put some other information on us. So it's really important that you give them a reason to believe that you're credible. It'll help the entire lead follow-up process. So the third thing you will do is you will send them a listing alert. Now, somebody who's buying a home a year from now, they don't need to receive listing alerts every day. Okay, that is too much. That's 365 emails a year, way too much. When they're about a year out, they usually like to receive listings once a month, unless they request more. So you'll put them on an automated listing alert in your CRM based upon the criteria that they gave you, right? When you pre-qualified them, you ask them, what did the perfect home look like? You take that information, and that's what you're going to put in sending the listing alerts. So right there, you have 12 touches that go out completely automated. They automatically go out. You don't have to take time on that. That simplifies the process. Then you will send them a postcard if you have their address, or a Facebook ad if you have their email. Now I'll explain how both of those work after. Just know if you have their address, you want to send them a postcard. If you don't, you want to send them a Facebook ad, or you can do both. Very simple. We'll explain. I'll give you the system I use for sending postcards, and I'll show you how we do our Facebook ads. So February comes, and second month of this, you don't have to do anything. The listing alert goes out, the postcard goes out. That's all automated. Now in March, you give them a phone call just to check in, and here's the script you use. You're not going to set an appointment. You're just calling to check in and stay in touch. Hi, is Blank in? Hi, Blank. This is Steven with Keller Williams Realty. I'm the real estate agent who's been sending you homes online. How are you today? I just wanted to give you a brief call to see how you're liking the listings I'm sending you. Are there any that stand out or that you may want to see in person? Great. I'm here for you as a resource, so make sure to call me if you need anything. Okay? So again, I'm just calling to see, am I sending them the right homes? I'm staying in touch. Is there any way I can provide value? At this point, my intention is just to give value. Okay? I'm not worried about setting an appointment with them. My belief is if I just keep giving, be consistent, show them I'm professional, I'm going to stand out from 99% of the other realtors. Okay? So that's a really simple phone call. And you're going to do that one every other month until they get close to their time frame. That's when you will set an appointment with them. And I'll explain to you the appointment setting script in a minute. So as you can see, again in April, all automated. You send out a listing alert. You send out a postcard. And you do that phone call every other month that we just talked about. The only variable in this is the video market update. Every few months, we'll send out a brief 1 to 2 minute video market update, really simple, that just explains to them, you know, what's happening in the inventory in their area, what's happening with prices, average days on market, and any other relevant information that they might want to know. So here's a quick example of what my video market update looks like, just so you guys can get an example and get an opportunity to see this. Hi, Stephen Hurd with the GTMOC Real Estate Group, here with your July market real estate update. So the question on everyone's mind, prices have been going up for so long, when are they going to be coming down? Great question. Here's the 2 simple indicators that we look at when we determine where prices are headed. It's as simple as supply and demand. You see about 8,000 homes for sale in the market in Orange County, California, is a balanced market. That's when prices neither favor the buyer nor the seller. Right now, we have 5,900 homes for sale.
which means we are in a seller's market and there is low inventory. We also have 2,800 pending homes that are in escrow in the last 30 days, which means there's a lot of buyer's activity out there pushing prices up. So if you're a seller, it is a good time for you right now to get top dollar for your home. If you're a buyer, it's a very competitive market, but we do have strategies in place to find that dream home. For a more in-depth update on what's happening in the market, email me at steven@zteamocrealestate.com. Now for the tip of the month. When starting the home buying process, it's important to get pre-approved. Contrary to popular belief, getting pre-approved does not ruin your credit. It doesn't cost you any money, and you're not obligated to use the lender who pre-approved you. It's a quick, simple, and easy process to confirm what monthly mortgage payment will work best for you. Once we get you pre-approved and you know what your monthly payment is and what you can afford, it will help us to develop a plan to target communities that will fit within that budget. My name is Steven with the Z Team OC Real Estate Group, and have a great July.
Okay, so thank you guys for watching that. So that's just an example of the video I do, and don't overcomplicate it. I have done my best to keep it simple. You basically use your iPhone. If you have some lights, you can put some lights behind there so it kind of, lightens up the face, and just do a really simple email with that information. Active listings, pending sales, days on market, and we track it every few months just to kind of stay in touch with them and send them a report on that. So, again, really simple. The point is being consistent, okay? If you're not, I don't care if you have a video that was made by Steven Spielberg. If you only send one video out a year, it has no value to clients. It's consistency. That's what they want. So make sure you send that video out consistently and keep it simple. So those are all of the touches except the last one. Once you get to the point where they are ready to, be willing to buy or sell in the next few months, that's when you call and set the appointment. So here is the script for setting the appointment when they're about 1 to 3 months out from listing, their home for sale, or signing a buyer loyalty agreement if that's applicable in your state. So really simple. Hi, is Blank in? Hi, Blank. This is Steven with Keller Williams Realty. You and I connected earlier this year about your home search. How are you today? Is now a good time to talk? Great. Last we spoke, you mentioned you were planning to buy a home during the month of December this year. Is that still a goal of yours? Terrific. Based upon that time frame, it would be smart for us to get together to review the home buying process with you and make sure you have all the information you need to make the best decision. When is a good time for us to have that brief meeting at my office and make that happen for you? Are weekdays or weekends typically better for you? Really, really simple. You ask them, is it still a goal of yours to buy or sell? They say, yes, it's still our goal to do it in the month of December. Great. All you do from there is just go for the close. Perfect. Based on that time frame, would be smart for us to get together. What works better, weekday afternoons or weekends? 9 times out of 10, the client is going to respond and either give you a time on the week or a time on the weekends that works better. Really simple. Don't assume that they don't want to meet with you. They know that they need to meet with someone in order to get the process started. So just ask them. If objections come up, great. Answer those objections, ask some questions, and close again for the appointment. Super simple. Okay, so that is the entire lead follow-up system, the 33-touch program. I gave you guys 10 beliefs that you should have to be great at lead follow-up. I gave you a pre-qualification script that will help you to have a successful and relevant lead follow-up campaign. I broke down the actual calendar, everything that you need to do to stay in touch with them. I gave you some of the scripts. Now we're going to finish out with some just practical points that I mentioned. So Core Fact is the system that we use for postcards. And it's very simple. With the postcards, we use the system. You can go to corefact.com, I believe is their website. And we will just send leads, homes that we've sold, whether they're a buyer or a seller, doesn't matter. We'll send them a picture of homes that we recently sold. All it does is just show them proof of success, builds a little bit of credibility. They get 12 of those a year, and guess what? We're going to be top of mind when they're ready to make a move. Really simple, very low cost and effective. The second thing we do is our Facebook ads. Now, what most people don't know, and this one tip is a game changer for a lot of people. if you have a list of email addresses and those email addresses, the people use that same email as their login for Facebook. So you have a list of emails, and some of the people on there, that email is connected to their login for Facebook. So like when you go to log in on Facebook, you have a certain email that you put in, and then you put your password in. If that email is connected to your Facebook account, you can directly target an ad to those people with those emails. So here's an example. You have 1,000 emails and leads in your database. You download those email addresses onto an Excel spreadsheet. You can then upload them into Facebook, and you can send a Facebook ad directly to the people on that list, assuming their email is connected to that list. Probably 60 to 70% of the people and leads you have will 60% of the people will have an email connected to their Facebook account, the one that they give you when they register for your website or at an open house. So all we do is we just send them a Facebook ad with our listings and a link to our open houses. And so what does that do? It's just additional branding. It's just staying top of mind. They're getting my phone calls. They're getting my emails. They're getting my Facebook ads, possibly a postcard, video emails. All of these things, guess who's going to be top of mind when they're ready to buy or sell? It's going to drown out the noise of the competition, and you're going to be the only logical choice. So guys and gals, this is one of the ways to give yourself a real competitive advantage, and it does not cost a lot of money, is using this lead follow-up program. So having said that, as many of you know, I've kind of established myself, or at least worked to establish myself, as kind of the scripts master and teacher of scripts. I have a website that I created. It's called www.myrealestatescripts.com. So what it is it's called Scripts University. And I basically have all of my, I have video tutorials, audio tutorials, and PDFs of all of my scripts online. Okay, so it's all there in one single place. And there's membership levels for people who want to sign up. It is a paid service. However, just giving you an idea of the back end of the website. So I have full-on video tutorials for, let's say, my for sale by owner script, or my buyer consultation prequal script, my script for internet leads, video tutorials, audio scripts, and that you can listen to in the car on the way to the office, and downloadable PDF scripts that you can actually print out and practice with partners. So as you guys know, I serve Orange County, California. That's the area I'm in. 30% of our sales each year come from agent-to-agent referrals. So if anyone on this webinar sends me a referral in the next 7 days, or personally introduces me to an agent who interviews my team and I for their Orange County referral, I will give you free lifetime access to Scripts University. That's right. You won't have to pay the $79 yearly fee. You will get free access to Scripts University if you send me a referral within the next 7 days. So it's the 24th today. The 31st is 7 days from now. So if you can send a referral before that time, you will get access to all of my scripts. And I will tell you, there's a lot of good content on there. If you follow my Facebook group and you think that content is good, some of the stuff that I have on the back end of the site is just very practical and easy to digest. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this webinar. If you would like a copy of the slides and the video, actual video copy of this webinar, please email me, Steven@zteamocrealestate.com. Steven@Z, as in zebra, team, Orange County, OC, realestate.com, and I will send you copies of that as soon as I get a chance. Thank you for watching my videos and engaging in my Facebook group. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a blessed week. Have a great day.